If you are into wines or even new to wines, you may know our next guest well. On this week's Touch Base in Seoul, we welcome YouTuber Jay Lee, better known as WineKing. His namesake channel has over 25 million total views, over 304,000 subscribers, and is a go-to channel in the world of wines. Jay has multiple master's degrees in the art of wine, but you wouldn't know it for his very approachable personality. So we welcome Jay Lee, also known as WineKing, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
First off, you and your mentor, Peter, whom your fans would know very well, as he has been featured in many of the videos, have been on a tour of South Korea.
Yeah.
And it's been an opportunity to meet face-to-face many of your followers and fans, which must have been a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit how it's going so far?
Yeah, actually it was not planned, meeting our fans or subscribers.
Is that right?
It was quite spontaneous.
Ah.
Yeah, we planned our wine tasting in South Korea. And we've tasted like hundreds of wine together. And it'll be uploaded on my YouTube channel later. And then we began to travel together in South Korea because I wanted to introduce him some nice parts, nice cities, and nice food to my mentor.
Sure. It was his first time in Korea.
Yeah, it was his first time, not only in Korea, in Asia. Yeah, so he was so excited. And while we were traveling together, I just thought, because we were visiting multiple cities, I thought we could invite our subscribers to hang out with them.
I see.
Yeah, and more and more subscribers and fans came to see us.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting.
And you guys were literally visiting multiple cities.
Yes.
Along the East Coast, is that correct? Of South Korea. And here you are in Seoul now with us. So it's really, I'm looking forward to talking with you and kind of hearing about your wine journey so far. So could you tell us then how your journey with wine began? Just before we began the program, we were chatting about how you were from South Korea originally, but are based in California now. So how did your love of wine begin?
My wine story, it began with my mother.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was younger, when I was a university student, my mother had some cardiovascular problem. And one day on TV, I saw news saying that red wine was good for that problem. So I began to buy wine and to share the wine with my mother. And my mother loved it. So that was the start. But frankly speaking, when I tasted the red wine first, I didn't like it.
It wasn't love at first taste.
No, not at all.
Interesting. So it actually started as a very practical potential remedy for your mother's medical condition. But you went on to study wine pretty extensively. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, what does a master's degree in wine look like for those of us who are completely new to that space? I understand you have 3 master's degrees.
Yeah, that's correct. So I have master's degrees in wine marketing and winemaking and winery management from 3 different European countries.
Wow.
Yeah, from France, Spain, and Italy.
Okay.
And I did my big journey in European countries 2 times with a 10-year time gap. And the first trip was not well organized. I organized my trip myself alone. So it was like I registered on some wine institute in one country, and I moved to another country, and I learned their language in that new country. And using that language, I began to learn about their wine. But it was not well organized, so I wanted to do it again. And on my second trip, it was better organized by European Union, and it was supported by European countries. So I could better educated.
I see.
Yeah.
And this was how many years ago?
Was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And fast forward 10 years, here you are with a very, very popular YouTube channel called WineKing.
Yes.
You gained popularity for wines the videos themselves are actually very casual, right? Mm-hmm. When we think of wines, sometimes we think of kind of highbrow, high class, kind of you're well suited. Yeah. Gotta know the right lingo to find the right wine for the right food. It can be a little bit difficult of a subject to approach. Mm-hmm. But in your videos, it's actually very casual. Could you tell me a little bit about the concept behind the channel?
Yeah, and that was the point. So we wore a T-shirt with short pants.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are in someone's backyard in California with a big table set up, lots of wine bottles.
Exactly. That was exactly how we enjoyed our wine together. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to show our people, our viewers, that the wine is not that difficult. So, as you said, when we enjoy wine, usually we wear suit and necktie, and we should be formal to appreciate
with all the utensils, for all the foods,
and we don't know from which part we should begin, and we have to educate it, and I just wanted to show to the people that enjoying wine isn't related to that kind of formality. Mm. It's just like enjoying ramen. Mm. Yeah, I just wanted to show it to
people. And it's certainly that vibe, just you hanging out with your mentors. They're very, very well-versed in winery, no doubt, but they are wearing flip-flops and T-shirts, and you're kind of almost pranking them with some of the cheapest wines available and making them guess because they're not labeled in terms of what they are drinking. And, of course, they impress with their ability to kind of figure out what it is. Did you expect this response that you are seeing from your followers and fans so far when you started this YouTube channel?
Yeah, I can say I knew it.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew the result because I went to the United States about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that time I just surprised because, California is a very, very big wine region. And
sure, Napa Valley.
Yeah, Napa Valley for consumption and for produce.
Growing as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, growing as well. California is very important. And, YouTube and Google, those things are all from the United States. Mm-hmm. But I was just surprised because I saw there was no big wine YouTube channel. Mm. The biggest one was with 30,000 subscribers at the time. Mm-hmm. So I just thought myself, I could do something here. Mm. Yeah, and I just wanted to put a little bit more fun on wine. And I think it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think it is that people enjoy watching your videos then?
Because it is more fun than any other people's wine channel. It is very.
What makes it more fun?
It is very easy to say, but it's very easy to make. Yeah, so I had to always think about what kind of a fun factor I could put in this content. Mm-hmm. For example, you mentioned that expensive, prank videos with expensive wine or cheaper wine. But I was extremely careful because I didn't make my mentor angry.
Right. They are capable of becoming angry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I just knew that Peter for example, he would figure out what the wines were. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it when Peter starts talking about what he just drank, whether it's cheap or expensive, because he does kind of like then turn into this wine connoisseur and explains what's missing, what he's tasting, why it's pretending to be wine as opposed to an actual wine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Peter is definitely, I think, a fun character, and I'm sure a lot of your followers had fun meeting him in person as well. I understand he's since returned to the States. But I have to say, one of the videos that I watched on your channel that was interesting was you talking about, I think it was one of your earlier videos where you talked about the languages that you speak. You speak 8 different languages.
Yeah.
And you actually started calling up people in those countries to show that you are actually fluent in it as opposed to just knowing a few phrases here and there. So I'm curious how you picked up all of those languages and were they intertwined with your wine journey?
The reason was wine. The reason why I learned all those languages was wine. So wine has been the axis for me. And picking up the first and the second language was quite difficult.
What were they? The first and second?
German. German was my first foreign language. And then English. And then those 2 languages were pretty difficult to learn.
Very different.
Yeah, very different. But when you talk about one theme, even you speak in different languages, you can just feel that you talk about the same thing or similar things. So I just could understand what my new friends in new countries they were talking about. So I try to understand it in their languages, and it make me much easier to pick their languages up.
Sure, you have a fuller view of kind of their experience with wines if you're able to understand it in their language. But usually, Jay, this is a very difficult thing to do, to pick up a new language. Would you say you are just naturally gifted in picking up new languages?
I'm not sure about that. I really tried hard to learn those languages, and when I first began to learn foreign languages, it was quite late. It was when I was 28-year-old, so it was quite late. But I think I figured out the system to be a polyglot.
Oh, okay. Will you be doing a video on that, the system?
Yeah.
What are the 8 languages again? So you said German,
English, French, Spanish, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Korean.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and return to Korea then. So Korea's the wine popularity in Korea has, I feel like, really grown in the past handful of years or so. I mean, I am no wine expert by any means, but just as someone who lives here in Seoul and kind of sees how there was a limited stock of wine at the department stores at kind of outrageous prices, because I also know what they're priced back in California, having grown up there myself. But now we see wine prices really kind of correct quite a bit, and we can see them at 24-hour convenience stores here. And, just regular, big markets as well. So curious to see what you think about how wine has grown in South Korea, because a lot of your viewers also are from South Korea as well.
Yeah, that is true. It was, I think, it just happened because it had to happen. It
was inevitable.
It was inevitable. Yeah, of course. And, the economy size of South Korea is quite big, but compared to the size of economy, the wine market was very small. So it had the potential to grow up. But somebody had to push the button to make it bigger. And I think during this pandemic, it happened because everybody stayed at home and they had to spend some money to experience nicer things because life was boring.
Right, you can't go abroad, you can't travel. Mm-hmm. Some people were just staying home and not going to restaurants either.
Yeah.
So
same thing happened to me because I got stuck in the backyard and I had to taste the wine with my mentor almost every day.
Right, you guys were wearing masks, and I think you had passed something on to one of your mentors, and he was like, "Oh, this is going to be a super spreader." Why would you touch that? I remember that. Yeah. So in some ways, would you say the COVID-19 pandemic kind of expedited the popularity of wine here?
Yeah. And more importantly, people began to understand that cheaper wines could be good wines too. Mm-hmm. That was very, very important for me.
Yeah. Was there anything surprising that you came across during your unofficial, spontaneous tour? Just speaking with locals here and kind of their love of wine as well, that you didn't expect before, perhaps?
What I was really impressed was that in a little restaurant, there was a mother who came with a little baby, holding her baby. Mm-hmm. She wanted to make a photo with us, and she wanted her baby in the photo. So I just told her, "Oh, this baby could be a good taster in the future."
The baby has a picture with the WineKing and his mentor, Peter.
Yeah. That kind of the family scene it has been always touching for me. Yeah, sometimes the son comes with their parents, and sometimes a father comes with their daughters, and they want to enjoy the wine together. And they told me that they were watching my videos together, sitting in a sofa together, enjoying the same wine. It just reminds me of my mother, sharing the same wine with her.
So the changing of cultures in terms of how Koreans view wine. If it was before something, an adult activity to be had away from the children, now it's become kind of folded into the familial culture. Yeah,
that's very important for me because, South Korea is not a wine country. So almost all the wines are imported in South Korea. So, but I'm Korean, so I want to make Korean culture to be stronger with the wine culture.
Okay. Would you say that's part of what's ahead for you in terms of wine education and so forth?
Yeah.
Okay. And last question, unfortunately, we are almost out of time.
Okay.
But for those who are just beginning to enjoy wine because perhaps their first taste of it was a little bit too bitter, what kind of tips would you offer them to really understand the scope and depth of wine better?
Oh, yeah. I would like to say that you can just enjoy what's available for you. So in terms of money, or in terms of place or friends. But the most important thing is that when you enjoy a bottle of wine, if you can read the label through, then you can learn something from it. Because, the wine labels are very difficult to read. If it is in English, you're lucky. But it can be in French or in German, in Italian, in many other languages. It's really hard to read through the label, but if you do it, the more you do it, the better knowledge about wine you can get. And that will make you stronger with about the knowledge about wine.
Okay. Great tips. And certainly there's a lot more on your channel, WineKing, for those who are new as well. I got to see some of the more affordable options as well that I wanted to check out at some point too. So Jay, we'll have to wrap it there, but it was so fun having you on the program.
Thank you very much. It was very fun. Thank you.